playing this lovely violin that I was personally given by my dear friend Antonio Stradivari.
I feel like Stradivari wouldn't give you a violin if you were that bad.
Brother Nero, I knew you'd come. This match we're about to have will be your true Armageddon. Prepare for your deletion.
We really did not get that perfect minute this time.
I think in a way we did. Hello, and welcome to the Big Match Minute. This is a show where we take wrestling matches that we like for some reason and we break them down minute by minute. I'm Diet Coke.
And I'm Lilith.
And we are joined once again by our special guest from last week. Kat, go ahead and say hello. And this time I didn't do it weird.
Yeah, you avoided that. Good job.
Yeah.
Hello, and thank you for not doing it weird.
Yeah. Did we say which minute we were talking about last week? It just occurs to
Probably
me.
not. Probably not.
Well, we're on minute 8 this week, so if you were confused
but
last
the
week,
minute that you watch is in the title of the episode, right?
that's true.
It's
But
the subtitle of the episode.
I don't want to make
you
people
don't
have
need
to take out their
You probably
phone,
don't need
you
to
know?
remind them.
Whatever. They're listening in order, right?
I assume so. Otherwise, the match isn't going to make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a wild thing to listen to podcasts on shuffle, especially like this.
Yeah, right. We're like any great serialized podcast, this is meant to be taken in order.
Then again, I don't know that people are necessarily following the action of the match solely
Yeah.
by our podcast,
It'd be a pretty fucking difficult thing to do if they were.
Yeah.
So I watched the final deletion. It took like a year. But
That is my experience.
Yeah. I don't know if we've actually mentioned this. Minute by minute, this is Diet Coke's first time watching the final
That's correct.
deletion.
oh my god.
Diet Coke doesn't even know what's coming.
Yeah, I don't know how this ends. I don't know what happens next. Very exciting for me.
Yeah. It's quite a way to take in a match.
Yeah, especially one that's like as heavily referenced as this one.
Right. Yeah, it is a piece of, but I mean, to be fair, that is the same way that I've taken in Dunstan Checks In that I've watched the 3 minutes that I've had to watch for Diet Coke's podcast.
3 minutes too many, and I'm once again sorry for making you do that.
Okay, so
Fuck
what
that
is
movie.
this Dunstan podcast?
I had a podcast about the movie Dunstan Checks In, and it was and that is why I'm uniquely qualified to be an advocate to say, friends, family, don't watch Dunstan Checks In. It's a bad movie.
Now hold on. I remember liking that movie when I was a dumb idiot child.
So did I.
Yeah. It's a movie for dumb idiot children.
Only.
And it's definitely not made any more pleasant by watching it minute by minute.
Certainly not.
But that podcast did give me the excuse to watch in order, I believe, Fast and Furious 6, Punisher Warzone, and the first Mighty Ducks movie.
That sounds right.
That was good.
Yeah, we also talked about other movies on that podcast because we needed to talk about things that weren't Dunstan Checks In for our safety.
Anyway, fuck that podcast. That podcast is
well,
done.
hey, fuck that movie. Sure,
No.
fuck that movie. And you can say fuck you to me all you want, but I got my good friend Andrew Lindy. I gotta defend his honor.
Dunstan Checks In was a good podcast.
Thank
I'll
you.
stick up for it. It is a lot more pleasant than the movie Dunstan Checks In. But fuck that. Let's talk about this minute, because it's quite a minute, I'll say.
Yeah, this is a great minute. I'll say. I'm gonna regurgitate my catchphrase from the show I did before Dunstan Checks In and say this is a great minute.
Mm-hmm.
That show is technically officially called the official Dunstan Checks In podcast, by the way.
Oh, that's
I don't know
right.
what we keep talking about, referring to it as Dunstan Checks In. These are all extremely deep cut references for nobody. Apologies to Kat, who I'm sure has no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
Nope.
All right. Well, the minute opens up. Matt has his violin in hand.
Yes.
And he says, play this lovely violin that I was personally given by my good friend Antonio Stradivari.
So
Which-
good. If you heard, I mean, the listener heard my reaction to that moment.
Mhm.
If I
Mhm.
could have stood up and clapped, I would have, though.
It's such a good little bit of, I don't think that they had really introduced that this, this new Matt Hardy
this essence.
was now, he was like some kind of immortal essence that had actually been around for thousands of years.
Yeah.
But not quite as long as Damascus.
That's such a good little bit of like, that's how you drop world building right
Mhm.
there.
It's
You
true.
know? It's
Yeah.
just it's weird because it is a good bit of world building, but it also has like the cadence of a kid on a playground who's saying like, Tony
Yeah.
Hawk gave me this skateboard.
Yeah.
My uncle. It's a very my uncle works for Nintendo statement.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. He's like, he gotta let us know that this was personally given to him by his good friend Antonio Stradivari,
Yeah.
who has been dead for like 200 years.
He died in 1737.
Okay, a little more than 200.
It's also hard to reconcile the fact that this is the second half of a sentence we heard at the end of the last minute.
Mhm.
I don't
Yes,
know
it
what,
is.
like, because when you do a minute by minute podcast like this, everybody who says to one of these podcasts knows you lose like half a second of audio in between. It falls into the seam, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I really don't know how the hell we got from what he was saying at the end of the last minute to this.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we're here now.
Maybe it was, now I must summon the evil enigma by playing this
Oh, okay.
lovely violin.
Given to me by my friend Antonio Stradivari, of course.
Yes, of course.
So is the evil enigma brother Nero?
Yeah.
I would assume so.
Well, yeah, because
He's the enigma.
The charismatic enigma, that's like
Yeah.
one of his things, right?
It's true.
Oh, right, because he's got all the question marks that he paints on his face, so he looks like some sort of Liechtenstein art.
Liechtenstein Riddler.
Or like a shitty punk
The pop
reboot
art
of the Riddler.
Actually,
God.
okay, the pop art Riddler is a pretty good character.
Yeah. Copyright that one. Mail this podcast recording to yourself, and
I am going to use that for when we eventually play Masks on Tricks with Dice.
oh, there you go. So Matt plays this little violin sting that is, it's I like it. It's obviously, just some kind of like clip that they found and licensed. I would imagine maybe they licensed it.
I don't know, maybe they went to like Freesound.
And then Jeff shows up on a four-wheeler, which I
Mhm.
was surprised by, because as longtime listeners of this podcast will remember, Jeff spent a lot of time on a dirt bike
Yeah.
in an earlier minute, running away or chasing after Vanguard 1, running away from some other drones. But I guess, he's rich. He lives on a big property. He's got a couple little all-terrain vehicles.
Mm.
When Jeff approaches on this four-wheeler through some fog, the music that is playing at the time, it feels like Batman is showing up.
Yeah.
Did anybody else get that?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
It's very like, again, I mean, like, we're kind of delving into this like uncanny Gotham-esque territory
Mm-hmm.
of Matt Hardy's weird rogues gallery persona. Like, I feel like you could make what essence is he on here? Zenith.
I think so.
Zenith could
What?
be a very good Batman villain.
Absolutely.
Sorry, what's Zenith?
So
This is gonna be a doozy.
yeah. Kat, you're gonna know this stuff better. So
Okay, so one of the ways that Matt Hardy has characterized Broken Matt is that Broken Matt has been made more powerful and more intelligent because he's gained access to a bigger part of his brain by being inhabited by an essence that has lived for thousands of years called Zenith.
Mhm.
Okay.
Zenith has been friends with a lot of historical figures as well.
Yeah.
Like an
Mhm.
improbable amount of historical figures,
Mhm.
and in very disparate areas concurrently,
Yeah.
which is one of the observations I made.
It's very Star Trek.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Zenith recently, and by recently I mean in like March of last year, was, I believe, killed off on an episode of BTE and
Okay.
replaced with a new essence named Damascus.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, sure.
Because he needed that strength to defeat the whole of the ass, who is Chris Jericho.
That makes sense.
Yet
Yeah.
Chris Jericho is an asshole.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And wasn't Kerrigan is the essence that took over during the WWE years? Do I remember that correctly?
Oh god,
So-
you are asking the wrong person. I have not paid attention to anything WWE has done.
This is his sort of way to reconcile all of the characters.
Like,
I kind of love that.
I watched WWE for a brief period in 2018
Uh-huh.
when Nakamura won the Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah, we all thought it might be good then.
Yeah, we all thought it might be good for that brief window.
Uh-huh. And then the nut shots heard round the world.
Yep, and then Dick Puncher Nakamura.
Uh-huh.
That said, that did lead to my favorite Shinsuke Nakamura moment in WWE, which is where he, after clearly having spoken very proficient English
Mhm.
to the interviewer, after he's asked a question he doesn't want to answer, he says, "Sorry, no speak English."
Yeah, that
And,
was
like,
excellent.
That was excellent.
That ruled. That ruled. I love Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke's great.
If I were to go back to WWE ever, which I won't because I have ethics,
Mhm.
it would be for Nakamura, for Sami Zayn, for Kevin Owens, and
Yeah.
not for Adam Cole.
Yeah. I'm gonna be watching Royal Rumble this weekend. Because they never skip the Rumble. I'm down to pretty much I mean, I'm probably not even gonna watch Mania this year. Like last year, it was just the Rumble and Mania, and I think that was pretty much it.
Yep.
But
This is a conversation we should have because we did make previous statements to each other about what if the Mania came to Los Angeles.
oh, if Mania comes to Los Angeles, which I think has now been pushed back to 2023.
Yeah.
I'm going, but we're like maybe we'll catch Mania, but like we're gonna be watching all the indie shit. Like
Cool.
I mean,
I'm gonna be there for the indie shows.
There's very
Yeah.
good reason to go to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And
without going to WrestleMania.
WrestleMania is not the reason to go. Like,
Yeah.
right. Exactly.
I mean, like, there was just go for Effie's big gay brunch.
Right. Oh god, the WrestleMania weekend that we got some of the collective.
We did still get a different collective though, because like Cassandra wouldn't have been able to have that
Yeah.
match against Sunny Kiss if
Mhm.
it wasn't at the collective rather than WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
Because like, has AEW ever had to put their weekly shows or their talent up against WrestleMania in any meaningful
Mhm.
way? No. What does
That's
AEW
true.
do at that point? So it's
Mhm.
an interesting thing that'll come about, I guess, once WrestleMania happens to be allowed to have people in attendance again, which who knows
I'm
when?
gonna say, 2022 probably.
Hopefully.
Anyway, did we discuss the fog?
No.
The John Carpenter film?
No, but when Jeff comes up on the four-wheeler, there's fog,
Yeah.
which has not, like, it hasn't been in any previous shots, doesn't really show up all that much after this.
I think that's fine. I think that's good, actually. It's a bit of drama, you know?
Yeah.
It kind of, it's his Batman. It's like, it becomes a Tim Burton Batman movie for a second
Mhm,
when Jeff Hardy
mhm.
enters, and I kind of love that.
Including, kind of going with the specifically Tim Burton feel. Actually, I don't even know if it's been a long time since I watched a Tim Burton movie because I don't like Tim Burton very much.
Yeah, seems like a bad
but
guy.
when Jeff Hardy actually climbs up the ropes, the editing gets so weird. There's like 4 different shots of him climbing the apron.
So I
Yeah.
noted that, like, this.
Yeah.
There was I wrote down the WWE jump cut syndrome is really bad there.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's almost like, because in the previous minute, they just showed the referee, like, they would just, they would cut out whole sections of the referee getting into the ring, and, it was all kind of one shot, but there was just kind of linearly kind of smashed together. But, like, for Jeff getting into the ring, we needed to make sure we needed 4 different shots
We
from
got
different
every
angles
angle,
and get
yeah.
every single moment of it.
We all, yeah.
Very strange. So I have one other note, because I assume we're about to get to what I think is the funniest moment in this minute, and definitely the funniest moment of the 2 minutes that I have watched today. Kudos to Jeff for being able to play this whole, like, bit completely straight, because I know I would not have been able to take, like, if I went somewhere and my brother was calling me weird names and saying he was an ancient being and playing a violin, claiming that he was given by Stradivarius, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it'd be a little difficult to commit.
I mean, like, always commit to the bit, but sometimes you gotta pause and be like, hey, is this bit healthy?
I don't know that. That's not how I live my life.
No, it is not. I've been calling you Diet Coke in public for like a year now.
That's something that me and Matt Hardy understand. You gotta commit to the bit.
Is Diet Coke your essence that has possessed your body with hundreds of years of sugar-free knowledge?
Hundreds of years and zeros of calories.
Exactly.
Hundreds of years and grams of aspartame.
That's right. I just feel that Diet Coke is a name that is representative of my personality, which is effervescent, delicious, and give rats cancer. That's my personality.
Okay, but have you considered the fact that Trump had a literal Diet Coke button in the White House and it never summoned you?
It's been a real rough time for me, for my brand online. I will say, and I've said this off the record in private chats, and I won't announce who agreed with me, but I'll just say it. Listen, he's a terrible man. I think he should die.
The Diet Coke button is cool as fuck.
The Diet Coke button is cool as hell. Like, I'm sorry. He's a shitty dude. I hope he on his own shit and goes straight to hell.
Yeah.
But having a button you can press and then someone shows up with a Diet Coke is fucking cool.
No, it's very good, but I mean, like, I don't know if you saw, like, towards the beginning of 2016 or like the mid 2017 or something like that, BuzzFeed put out a video where Keith from the Try Guys and someone else, I forget her name, had to eat a Trump diet for a day.
Oh no.
And they couldn't do it because it was just non-stop Diet Cokes and, like, no water.
Oh.
Like, I swear to God, they had like 8 Diet Cokes in a day.
Oh, that's like, I love Diet Coke so much, both my best friend and also the drink. But that sounds like a bit much.
Like,
I mean, I could see myself living that way in high school. Certainly not today, but
yeah.
I mean,
With
like,
your adult body that has
Yeah.
consequences.
yeah.
maybe I could see myself doing like 3 cans of Fresca in a day. Oh, the worst part was that he would eat the cheese and toppings off of a pizza, but not the bread because he didn't want the carbs.
Carbs, yeah.
Oh my
See, here's
God.
the thing. Again, if we divorce us from the man, I know plenty of just little idiot gays who are too online who have that exact diet.
Yeah.
Like, it's not. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm not here to judge. I would like a little bit more variety in my diet.
Mhm.
Well, sure. I don't think anyone's arguing that this is a healthy way to live. I don't think it's uniquely a Trump thing.
Yeah. That's fair. Well, what we can all agree on is that he should choke at his own shit and die.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is true.
And that we would all really like to see Nick Gage carve his face up with a broken light tube.
Yes,
Absolutely.
100%.
But anyway, okay, Brother Nero, I knew you'd come. He says it in such a weird way.
And it's also it's unlike anything we've heard from him so far in this show. That I
Yep,
call the final
yep.
deletion. It's such a departure from the established broken Matt Hardy character that we've come to know and love.
Mhm.
He goes into
delightful.
like this deeply like Matt Hardy, good old boy from North Carolina voice.
Well, yeah, it's like it's distinctly Southern in a way that he has not been up until now.
Right, like
Mhm.
Broken Matt is very like grandiose and like received pronunciation, and he's like, "Brother Nero, I knew you'd come."
Which I like. It's a nice little bit, it grounds it a little bit to remind you that, hey, these are just two brothers from North Carolina who are about to beat the shit out of each other.
It kind of dips into notable other shithead like Kevin Spacey on
On
House
a-
of Cards.
yeah,
It does.
a little bit, yeah.
Claire, like that kind of thing.
It's so fucked. It's so fucked up that it took him being outed as a fucking creep for
Mhm.
for mainstream audiences to realize how bad that performance was. I remember the first time I saw that before the general public knew things about Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is everybody talking about when they talk
Evil
about how amazing this
Foghorn
performance
Leghorn
is?
is taking over the White House.
Yeah.
We need to talk about this idea that the general public didn't know Kevin Spacey was a creep, because I always was under the impression that everyone knew Kevin Spacey was a creep and he just didn't get canceled.
It seemed like it was a bit of an open secret in Hollywood.
Oh, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't like.
Yeah.
I was never a huge Kevin Spacey fan, so I wasn't something that I looked into. But I just knew it was like, yeah, he's an actor who's in things sometimes. I didn't know that about him.
Also did spend a lot of time watching Hulu's Difficult People, because I'm a terrible person and I liked Difficult People, which is basically the apt description that I can come up with is gay Seinfeld.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen a couple episodes. I haven't I didn't dislike it.
They're extremely critical of Kevin Spacey through the entire run of the show.
I watched it after news had come out about Kevin after he was canceled.
There's also a trans woman on that show. She's a very talented actress and plays her character incredibly hilariously.
I had heard that. That's why I started watching, but I never made it to her.
She's in like season 3.
Yeah.
She's a 9/11 truther and conspiracy theorist.
Oh, what's her number? This sounds like my kind of person.
Difficult People was the first time I heard the phrase Traniversary.
It's an interesting. I always prefer HRT Miss, but it's all fun to me.
I love
Sure.
Traniversary. I like anything that's gonna make cis people a little uncomfortable, though.
Yeah.
That's always good. This is just a little fun fact about me. Mine is Halloween, which is always like really
Yeah.
cool.
That rules so
That
hard.
is cool.
Mine is equally on brand for me, if you know me, because it's 7-Eleven.
Which, of course, you love because it's the day after your best friend's birthday.
Yes. And not because I'm some sort of weird convenience store rat that likes to just hang out amongst the chip bags.
Amongst the chip bags, just watching those hot dog rollers.
My HRT day, HRT mistrianiversary, whatever you want to call it, was 1 year after the Kofifi tweet.
Wow. Oh, interesting.
So that's the closest thing I have to a holiday or important milestone.
Yeah. I gotta say, I think I would have forgotten mine by now if it wasn't Halloween, because it's been 6 years and that's what my brain is like.
Yeah, I think I would have forgotten mine too.
I only know because I keep track of some of my friends, and my friend Kaylee, it has her HRT anniversary literally 1 year before mine.
So on the day of the Kofifi tweet?
On the day of the Kofifi tweet.
As it will be remembered and turned into a national holiday. Hopefully there will be some memorial statues.
I don't know what he was trying with. We've talked a lot about Trump this episode.
I know. It's kind of, what's the monster is, I guess he's not dead, but like he's a little gone. So like it feels a little safer.
Yeah. I do. I guess, I don't know. I guess I should be warning against us right now. I feel like people in general are acting like he's fully gone in a way that is really troubling to me, frankly. But
no, yeah. But anyway, I want to say that I love the shot of like Matt, like with his face in the foreground, like
it's
acting
such a
like
good shot.
Absolute maniac and refusing to turn around while delivering his lines to Jeff.
And Jeff the whole time is just like, this fucking asshole, this idiot, like just shaking his head at him.
I really love, Jeff not only plays it straight, but plays it like his older brother is doing some weird like cosplay adventures and mom is making him like play along.
Like he's just fed up with his extremely fed up with his bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, Jeffrey, you go play with Matthew. He's got a very creative brain.
He's so weird, Mom. He's so fucking
I don't care
weird.
how weird he is. You've got to play with your brother.
He keeps talking about how he's friends with Antonio Stradivari. It's so weird. You gave him that violin for his birthday. Why don't you say something?
Look, Jeff, honey, if Maddie wants to pretend the violin is from Stradivarius, then he can pretend it's from Stradivarius. It's just pretend. What's the harm?
He also said he's gonna kill me.
Oh, Jeffrey, don't be such a tall tale teller.
Do you believe the violin's from Stradivarius too?
I'm sorry I turned this into an improv podcast.
I love it. No, this is good.
Where even are we in the minute?
Brother Nero, I knew you'd come. This match we're about to have will be your true Armageddon. Prepare for your deletion. And then
Aerosmith starts playing.
Yeah, right? The weirdest music cue in the world starts playing as the like drone cam is giving us a cool little pan across I guess like a tracking shot around the ring.
Oh, speaking of weird music cues, we didn't even talk about how like the violin that Matt is supposedly playing for real does like a record scratch fade out when Jeff arrives.
It like reverses the violin when Jeff shows up.
Yeah, but the violin that Matt Hardy is supposedly playing for, like, he still plays along with what we're supposedly hearing, which is an impossible sound for a violin to produce.
Right, except that it's not, because Matt Hardy has access to 100% of his brain thanks to Zenith.
Yeah. Diet Coke, it kind of seems like you forgot that. If you'd like, I could cut this part of the podcast out.
I forgot what things are possible when you have access to 100% of your brain.
Yeah.
I want to see the Lucy Limitless Matt Hardy crossover.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me that pill.
I need that pill. No, now we're just doing bits from other podcasts.
Okay. Aerosmith fades in as Matt and Jeff are squaring up in the ring. And then we get a fade to black, which I assume was just like an Impact commercial break.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
almost assuredly a commercial break.
Yeah, I am
Mhm.
wondering how this was presented originally.
Yeah. And then it comes back to a completely different color grading and lighting.
We also see Jeff Hardy enter the ring again.
Yeah. It looks like a completely different ring, different time of night. I don't know what the fuck happened. Somebody just
Yeah.
tripped over the settings on the camera, but it looks like shit now.
Well, that's like we talked about in the previous minute, how it would cut between different color gradings in between shots back and forth when he was burning down the field.
But that was at least, that was two shots that were taking place like time-wise at the same time, I guess.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. But like this is so much more different. Like the ring is so much less bright, it's so much
Yeah.
less warm. Like it's incredible. But that is the end of the minute. We kind of just see them squaring up again to fight, I guess.
It's
Yeah.
very like primetime drama in the way that they cut
Yeah.
back in. Like it's something that like I'm trying to think of like a show that I would give it as an
Like,
example that
Lost did that a lot, where it would be sunset. It would be pretty bright sunset,
Mhm.
and then a commercial would happen, and then they'd be seconds later in the scene, but it would be pitch black out.
Yeah.
That was a signature Lost move.
That's explicable given that Lost has that weird, not Lost is the island is just purgatory, so time happens different.
Okay, don't get me fucking
Let's
started.
please not talk about Lost. Listen, Kat. I know you don't know, but if you get Diet Coke started, this podcast is gonna go down the toilet. Like I'm gonna have to delete my Pinecast account if we get Diet Coke started about Lost.
I still
Okay.
can't believe that I correctly guessed the time slot of Lost in a previous episode of this very podcast.
A show that's been off the air for what, like more than 10 years? I
Yeah.
wanna say?
No, 10 years. I believe it ended in 2011, so like 10
Okay,
years on the dot.
All right.
Oh my
Well,
god. No, okay, the comparison I made was
Mhm.
like Law and Order or CSI.
yeah, that's a very good comparison. Did have a really depressed summer where I watched all of Law and Order SVU, but I don't remember anything from it. So I can't talk about that at length. Thank God.
My ex made me watch so much SVU.
It's a bad television show.
It's so bad. Don't do cishet relationships.
Don't. No.
It's a mistake.
Yeah. Don't have depressing unemployed summers in a shitty little weed apartment.
But I've never seen SVU, so
Yeah.
I got it
It's
right,
like-
suckers.
SVU sucks in a way that's unique
Mm-hmm.
because it sucks because it's so repetitively traumatizing for anyone who's
Yeah.
ever undergone sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
And then also they tried to do a Gamergate episode.
Yeah.
I remember seeing screenshots of that when it happened.
But then Ice-T just kind of keeps pulling you back in because he's always fun. Oh, I could watch that man act for days.
I have seen an Ice-T supercut.
Now, Diet Coke, if you want to help me with a plugs joke, I'd really appreciate it.
In college, I had a roommate who, because he was bored, used to take 2 raw strips of wire and stick it into an electrical outlet and shock himself. And he definitely didn't have a weird name for it, but I can pretend he called it plugging.
Okay, Kat, do you have any plugs?
Good enough. Good enough.
We technically made it over to the finish line, and that's what
Yeah.
counts.
Yeah.
As long as we get there. Do I have any plugs? Yes. You can find me and all of the podcasts that I produce over on my Twitter at Selesnya. That's KATSLESNYA. There you will find my link tree or card or whatever I have that has all of the links to everything that I do. I make podcasts for So Says Media. You can find all of those at sosays.ca. The 3 podcasts that I host are Unsound Theories, where we watch movies with no sound and no subtitles, and then try to figure out what's going on.
That's incredible. I gotta check out that show.
I also host, produce, edit, and GM for Chicks with Dice, a all-trans actual play podcast, which Lilith will be on for the public release of our February Patreon episode in March.
It's a real good episode.
And I am the co-host and Rudo on a wrestling podcast / live stream, Marking Out with My Girlfriend, which is streamed bi-weekly on Twitch at twitch.tv/SoSaysMedia. That's SOSES Media. What else do I want to plug? I also want to plug Camp Leapfrog. You should watch Camp Leapfrog.
It's a wrestling promo, right?
Yes, they're
Yeah.
all of the Chikara kids basically started their own promotion, more or less. I think the person who specifically started it was Chris Levin, aka Kid Referee.
Check out Camp Leapfrog. So, Kat, you make a lot of podcasts, and
Yeah, I do.
There's there's kind of a thing in podcasts where, like, when you're signing off, there's like a fun sign off phrase to let everybody, it has a like powerful psychological effect, I feel like, to let everybody know, like, hey, the episode's done. There's kind of it's almost like a, to quote the great George fucking Lucas, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Right. It's sort of like how at the end of every New Japan show, Kenny Omega would do his whole goodbye, good night, bang thing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we don't have that because my co-host is a obstinate cunt.
That's correct.
Do you have any ideas of what we could do?
No.